If we ever get to the point as a species where we need to go to Mars in order to survive, I'm gonna take my chances here on Earth. Tonight's movie I'm reviewing is called The Martian, and this film follows a guy who goes with this group of people to Mars, but then something happens on Mars which causes the crew and everyone else to believe that he's dead. So he gets stranded on Mars, and then people on Earth find out that he's not dead, and they have to rescue him from Mars. I'm not sure why I just repeated the word Mars so many times in that synopsis. For some reason, I thought it would be funny. Matt Damon could not have given a better performance in this movie. I mean, the film could have been completely joyless had it not been for the fact that his character manages to keep a sense of humor throughout the entire thing and makes it a lot more entertaining to watch than it could have been. He ends up being really one of the most likable characters I've seen in a film over the past year. As a result, he remains a consistently interesting character throughout the movie. It's actually really fascinating just watching the whole process that he takes in order to survive on this desolate planet. And I could genuinely feel everything that he felt. Whenever he was upset, I felt upset for him. There was a point where he accomplished something that was just seemingly impossible, and once he finally did it, I remember actually letting out a sigh of relief. And usually when I'm watching a movie that takes place in a cold environment, a lot of people will say this movie actually made me feel cold, and there was a point in this movie where I actually felt cold. Um, the theater that I saw this in was pretty cold too, though, and I had to throw my jacket over myself like a blanket, but that's beside the point. Half the time it didn't even feel like I was watching a science fiction movie because the entire thing just felt completely real to me. I mean, I would put this in the same category as Castaway, except that it just so happens to take place on Mars. Even the characters in this movie felt very real across the board. There weren't even any villains in this picture. There was one character played by Jeff Daniels who comes off as antagonistic in some parts, but at the same time, I didn't entirely hate him as a person because I was able to see his side of the issue. I did get the impression that he cared about what was going on. It was just that he was operating more on reason than emotion. In conclusion, I'm not entirely sure if I would consider this to be my favorite Ridley Scott movie, but at the very least, I would consider it to be one of his top three best. And I know that a lot of his films over the past decade have been lacking, but this movie proves that the man still has talent. So if you're willing to give him another chance, The Martian does come highly recommended. And that's all I've got to say about this movie. I hope y'all have a good one.